All right, good morning, Ms. Ogden, if you'll call the roll.
Senator Albritton, Senator Bell, Senator Carnley, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Figures, Senator Gavan, Senator Orr, Senator Singleton, Senator Smitherman, Senator Stutz, Senator Weaver, Senator Barfoot.
Here.
7, and we have a quorum.
All right, we've got a quorum. Senator Singleton, you're up first on SB 335.
Bill is the House bill we had before us that came, and on the what they call the Glock switch, and this bill prohibits any person knowingly to own one of these or to switch it for any reason, and it also provides a Class C felony as a penalty, and it gives a legal to give reasonable efforts to allow the public to know about these Glock switches.
Understand. Representative Ensler is here as well. I didn't know
Yes.
if you wanted him to
Same bill.
Same
We've
bill.
already passed out.
add the House. All right, any comments, questions, or discussions, members?
Unless you just want to have something to say.
Senator Bell.
Right.
And I understand it's already against federal law. As I understand it, this is an effort to codify what's already in federal law as it relates to those Glock switches. We've had mass incidents around the state, specifically Montgomery. I've been privy to some of the video that's been shown, um, and I see no discernible use for those except to create havoc and mayhem. So, in which that has been successful around the state. So,
If I wasn't convinced, Mr. Chairman, the little video I just saw, I'm convinced now.
yeah. Any other questions or comments? All right. Okay. Ms. Ogden, if you'll call the roll. I got a
Gotta
first.
move.
You got a
National
first.
Favor report.
I'll second. Ms. Ogden, if you'll call the roll.
Senator Albritton, Senator Bell, Senator Carnley, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Figures, Senator Gavan, Senator Orr, Senator Singleton,
Aye.
Senator Smitherman, Senator Stutz, Senator Weaver, Senator Barfoot.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Senator Singleton. SB 335 is given favor report. Senator Weaver. Thank you. Senator Weaver, SB 320.
SB 320 is a bill that actually went along with a bill that we passed out of the Senate and the House, and it has already been signed into law by the governor. So what you're getting today is a sub that has a few sentences on it that makes this bill compatible with the law that she just signed into law. It was the AI pornography bill that Representative Woods had that we passed out of the Senate last week, and they had to update it with this sub so that it fits what she signed into law last week. And it just says any person who knowingly possesses 25 or more items of obscene material goes along with that statute. So happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Committee members, any questions, comments, concerns? Got a first by Senator Weaver, second by Senator Orr, Senator Smitherman, or Senator Singleton. Either one of y'all have a question?
What? Just tell me what is the change in the bill from the now? In other words, the bill does this, and now you doing this to make it do this.
Yes.
Explain that to me, please.
So this bill was a standalone bill that was running separate from that other bill. And some of the problems that they were having was they were looking at how many of those images you had to have to say that you were in possession of that obscene material that would go along with this child pornography. So they added the 25 or more items. And this was running as a standalone bill, but to make it compatible with what she signed last week, this is why you have the sub that says that. Right. Right. So it's adding the 25 items. Yes. Yes.
So, go on. Excuse
Senator Smithman, any questions? Did you have any question or comment? Okay. Got a first by Senator Weaver, second by, I believe, Senator Orr. Any other further discussion? Senator Stutz like to be added to the roll. Any opposition using previous roll? Senator Figures added to the roll, and Senator Weaver added to the roll. Any opposition using previous roll and adding, and Senator Smitherman added to the roll. Yeah. Any opposition using previous roll and adding those 4 members as yes votes? Hearing none, bill's given favor report. Thank you, Senator Weaver. Next up, let's skip over. Let's go to, we're going to take a couple House members that are in here. HB 92, Representative Stubbs. This is a bill, I think we've passed the Senate version out of this already. It's already down the House, the asbestos bill.
Yes, sir.
Representative Stubbs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, body. We are, this is House Bill 92, which is the companion bill for Senate Bill 104 relating to asbestos litigation and preventing of overname.
Does this match the?
It is identical.
Move it.
sir.
Favorable.
Motion favorable and a second. Multiple folks. Senator Smitherman has questions.
What are you doing different regarding this? And let me just say that I want you to know kind of as specific as you can answer the question, just simply because the very first civil case that I ever had of high magnitude was an asbestos case. So I'm very familiar from that
What am I doing?
point. Yeah. So what are we saying now got to be done that was not done relating to these asbestos cases?
This bill is preventing the overnaming of defendants. So when there's litigation presented and if you're overnaming defendants, just naming a long list of defendants, this bill simply provides criteria set forth which allows for or ensures that the defendant is actually someone who may have had asbestos in their facility or building or whatever it may be. It just sets some criteria. It's a negotiated bill with all the parties involved. We've come to this agreement.
Well, so what do we do for unknown parties? I mean, if you're saying don't name them, if you got an idea that this person might be the people involved, and
Well, you
then
can
you're
name them.
I'm gonna be through. Just give me a minute to finish. Let me just say this to you so you can be, we can talk just for a second. I'm just as passionate about what I'm talking about probably as you are about this bill. I just want to say that. So that's why I'm asking you that. So what am I supposed to do as an attorney then? If you got all these elements of people that's out there, and I don't name all them whether or not they actually are connection, which the courts will decide that. When we get in court said this plaintiff is dismissed, this one is dismissed, and this one is dismissed if it is. But if I don't put them on there from the beginning or bring them on there, when the statute of limitations come, I'm through. I can't bring them back up then. So what this bill, from just what you said, I haven't read it like every word on it, but what you're saying is that there's some consequence if I name a multitude of people and for some reason they are not the people on there. So can you explain that to us?
If you name those defendants, then you have 45 days after filing that action to specify the basis for the claims. So you can name those people, but you have 45 days to specify that there were dates of exposure, those types of criteria set forth. You have 45 days to justify that.
Well, let me say this to you, and you can, without me saying a lot. I'm presently involved in a case right now, not asbestos, but a case right now. I'm talking about your 45 days. I'm involved in a case right now, and that case is now. In fact, last week, some of my colleagues might have heard me talking about it. I had to send a brief to the Court of Civil Appeal. Listen at this. It took us 3 years before we got the information, the financial information, and that's only when the court had to assign a standing master to just directly deal with that person and get it. When this person had the ability and the code to do it 3 years ago. So now you finna put a 45-day cap on me, and I'm gonna run into the same situation, and I'm not gonna be able to do anything based on this bill. So all the person got to do is hide out or hide the information out for 45 days, and then they free. There's something wrong with that. I mean, so I'm through, Mr. Shamble. I'm just telling you, that ain't good, and I don't like this bill. Go right on. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Smitherman. Any other questions or comments? I think it looks like there may be, and I'm trying to track this down now. If you'll look in the analysis report that was done, it looks like there may be um, some changes, at least in this, as opposed to the Senate bill that we had that came out of Judiciary. I don't know if this was amended on the floor. Senator Connolly, do you know if your version was amended on the floor? You remember one way or another? That may be something. Okay. We may want to check if this bill gets out. We may want to check to make sure that those languages match up with what we've passed out of this committee and passed out of the Senate floor compared to this. But I'll, in the essence of time and just know that, you know, we need to check those. I'd move to for a favorable report. Is there a second? Second, Senator Carnley. Suppose there's opposition, Senator Smitherman using previous rule. We'll call the long roll.
Senator Albritton, Senator Bell, Senator Carnley, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Figures, Senator Gavan, Senator Orr, Senator Singleton, Senator Smitherman, Senator Stutz, Senator Weaver, Senator Barfoot.
Aye. Aye. Thank you, Representative Stubbs. Appreciate you being here this morning. Okay, thank you. All right, next up, let's go to HB 100, Representative Clark. Glad to have you in, welcome, and glad to have you in the Senate Judiciary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Senators. I do have House Bill 100, which proposes to amend Alabama's Felony Voter Disqualification Act, which is Section 17(3)-30. It would do two things. One, it would establish increased penalties for a felony crime committed against an election official that is motivated by an individual's role as an election official. And two, it would establish that a felony committed against an election official, which is motivated by an individual's role as an election official, is a crime of moral turpitude. Now, according to the National Conference of State Legislators, nationally, election officials have faced an unprecedented level of threats to their safety and security after the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Some states have passed poll protection laws. However, in working with LSA on this bill, I realized that generally we already have in place legislation that addresses most crimes. So as a deterrent, HB 100 increases penalties for felonies committed against an election official and, upon conviction, makes them crimes of moral turpitude.
Mr. Chairman, I move for favorable report.
I second.
So it figures there's a first
New
and a
roll
second.
call, please.
First and a second on that. Is there any questions or comments? Senator Gavan.
So, Representative, I did no problem with the moral turpitude addition, and maybe not issues with the others. What I don't know is like some person goes in and because I don't know what the underlying elements are, and they just go, put their finger on the middle of the person's chest and say, you ought to do such and such. I mean, are they going to jail for 15 years? Where's the sliding scale on that? Somebody gets frustrated and just, says nasty things. I mean, is that going to be a felony? Is that going to be a misdemeanor?
I think it's going to be up to a judge to make that decision.
That's pretty scary. Pretty
They
scary.
shouldn't touch anybody, Senator. Nobody should. I mean, it's an assault when you just touch somebody in an aggressive way.
Can I be recognized?
Senator Smith.
Not on the exact thing you were saying, but I'm just giving you an analysis or something. I was a clerk of court, and sometime I had to go down to the to the jail through the tunnel and get these people and bring them back to court. And they wouldn't let us take a gun down there because they would take the gun from you. I have 6 prisoners sometimes, and so this is probably akin to that. What I used to tell them when we come down this hallway, nobody down there but me and these guys, and coming up on the elevator into the court. I said, let me just tell you something. If you just brush up against me, assault one. Assault one, really, y'all know that they're taking the gun and actually shooting at somebody and all that. But I said, you just brush me, assault one. They get all on the other side of the floor to get away from me. They want the more charge. This probably is what this is. If you just look at me and be ugly, then you gonna get something. And so I just kind of threw that out there for what it's worth. It's probably, but let me say this: Jerry Allen and I did the same thing for referees. The same thing. If you come out them stands now and do just what you just said, put your finger on a referee, you're gonna get charged and you're gonna get an enhancement. Okay, so I'm just saying, if we do it for referees, we ought to do it for ourselves, and that's been in law for over 10 years. That was in law before y'all got here. That's how long ago Gerald and I passed that bill together. So I just wanted to say that for what it's worth. Thank you.
So
Mr. Chairman.
let me
ahead.
say this, as I understand the bill in my reading of it, is it doesn't create a new offense. For instance, if the elements of harassment are met by, and they very well could be, by me putting my finger in your face, or physical contact meant to harass, annoy, or alarm would be harassment, and which is already a misdemeanor. And I think this proposes that a minimum sentence of that if it's an election official. That's my reading of it. So I think that doesn't create a new crime. It just says if it's a crime and if it's an election official, then here are the
Exactly.
minimum sentence for that. Which I would have thought, Senator Smitherman, I would have thought you'd have been against minimum sentences, but anyway.
Now when it comes to us,
Well,
We ain't covered in this.
But this is not us.
I agree with him in what I'm saying, and y'all heard me say this. You gonna keep on hearing me saying this. Why do we lose our rights as people? Because we elected folks talking about you can't do this in the public thing, this, that, and other. I ain't giving up no rights that I got as a citizen because I'm an elected official, and that's what this is. I mean, we got to start protecting ourselves.
No, but
The same thing. I'm glad we got a new building, man. We don't build 15,000 buildings before we decide we need to get one. You archive building, do this building. Why do we have to punish our own selves, y'all?
Senator Figures.
But now, as I understand this is for election officials, not elected
Right.
officials. These are people at the polls. And I think it's a great bill to use as a deterrent. Because it's hard enough getting people to work at these polls now. And if they have to have a fear, all they have to do is have that fear that somebody's coming at them. They shouldn't have to work under those circumstances. So I applaud you for bringing this bill, Representative Clark.
Thank you, Senator.
And I
Senator Bell.
renew my motion.
Senator
The
Bell.
only thing and I know this is not creating a new law, that we're just changing the penalties. I see people get frustrated, and I get frustrated with my cell phone, my iPad, and my computer pretty regular, want to throw them through the window. But the new technology when we go to vote is at times aggravating when it don't work or when there's a problem. And kind of like Senator Smith was talking about, there's times I get frustrated when I know I'm in there, and sometimes you can see your name and the person doing it. What can you say? What can't you say? There's been several times I'm like, look, I'm right there, and you want to reach over and hit the iPad for them. How do they interpret that? I mean, I know this law. I know the law is already there, but are we making that a felony if I'm trying to correct?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what worries me about it. Kind of same as what you're talking about.
Senator Singleton.
Yeah, just a personal experience. Back in 1996, I got arrested at a poll for interfering with a public official for performing his duty, and it was as simple as this. It was almost time to close the poll. It wasn't poll time closing, so this official decided when they saw a wave of people coming, they were just going to lock them out. So once they went to close the door, I grabbed the door and pulled the door open. I got arrested for interfering with an election official from performing their duty. So it was a question in court whether or not the poll was closed, whether or not they actually did their duty, or whether or not I, as a rightful citizen, wanted to make change to make sure that these people got their right to vote. Charges were dropped against me because it was proven that it wasn't. We were closing at 6 o'clock at that time. That it wasn't 6 o'clock, but I could have been charged with a Class A misdemeanor, which could have given me up to a year in jail and $1,000 in fine at that time. So, and with this law, it would be could be enhanced to a, a moral turpitude, which would then wipe me out from being able to vote for the rest of my life.
With all, Mr. Chairman, with all
Yes,
due respect, though,
Representative
you
Clark.
said that that was a misdemeanor?
Yes.
This only covers felony
Right.
crimes.
Okay, good shot. I mean, that charge, but harassment or anything else, and I agree that if she's saying it's going to, like you said, punch him in the chest, that goes beyond that. But I was charged with a misdemeanor. I just want to share that.
Understand. Thank you. Senator Figures.
Well, as I think back, over the last 20 some odd years and how we've dealt with moral turpitude, period,
Right.
and those crimes, I'm just not, I'm kind of thinking, do we need to put that as a part of this?
Enhancement.
Yeah. I see the increased penalties, like maybe with time or whatever, or fines, but I'm not sure unless it goes beyond something else, which would be covered anyway in terms of murder or whatever. So those are just my thoughts to kind of think about it before it goes to the floor.
So, Senator, my rationale for that is that if there's someone who is trying to deprive people of their right to vote, they don't deserve the right to vote.
So it would see, it would depend on each situation, and then you would have to prove intent. And help me out here, Smitherman, Senator Smitherman.
Well, I was
Senator-
just going.
Senator
I was just going to say that it needs we need to have something that's going to give people notice
It's going to be a deterrent.
that if you do this and passing the bill and putting it in the law is not going to give people notice. I mean, because we actually had something like they kind of announced it at the ball game. What we were talking about, the referees, and Gerald had even been talking about it since that the abbreviated part ought to be read at each game in the beginning. When they get up to do the flag or whatever like that, to read this, said that, code said this, you jump out there, the referee, you go in jail with a felon, and then play ball. So folks will know. I'm just concerned in this situation here about notice. And I'll tell you why. Because they know this. I've said this up here. We don't get the benefit of the doubt. We raise our voice and everything. Then they gonna say that, hey, I'm intimidated. I feel whatever. So if it's some kind of way, I don't know, but I want you to think about it as we go forward with this. Is that some kind of notice? I don't know where, how. I don't have the answer, but I know that it's the most simple thing. If you had a little sign right there where you
Yeah.
put on the one like we got on the one coming in the back door, saying when you come in this building, there's a no smoking area. So it's something. So I just wanted to put that out there to you.
I would have some thoughts, Senator Smitherman.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the bill itself?
I renew my notion.
You got
I
a
second.
first and a second by Senator Smitherman. First was by Senator Figures. Ms. Ogden, if you'll call the long roll for us.
Senator Albritton, Senator Bell, Senator Carnley, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Figures,
Aye.
Senator Gavan, Senator Orr, Senator Singleton, Senator Smitherman,
Aye.
Senator Stutz, Senator Weaver, Senator Barfoot.
Aye.
4, 4, and
4, 4, and 3. Bill fails at this point to get a
Mr. Chairman.
favorable report. Senator Figures.
I don't understand on this committee why we can pass some bills out of this committee and say we're going to work on them before we get to the floor. And then there are others you don't give any thought to, just like this last bill with Representative Stubbs. You let his bill out saying that we will work on it, but you didn't let Representative Clark's bill pass out, which you all know this is something that is needed. So I just want to put that there that you would at least think about, treating others the way you want to be treated or treating the other party the way your party is treated while you
Thank,
look at your phones.
thank you,
Thank
Senator
you.
Figures.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Bill fails to give a favorable, get a favorable report. We'll carry this bill over, put it back on the agenda, potentially give members an opportunity to look at it. All right. Next bill up
Thank you, Mr.
is,
Chairman.
thank you.
Thank you.
HB 320, that is Representative Bedsole. I told him I would handle this bill in committee. It's the same bill that I've handled my Senate version before. We got a motion for favorable, second by Senator Weaver. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Ogden, if you'll call the long roll.
Senator Albritton, Senator Bell,
You want to say aye?
It's a good bill.
Senator Carnley, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Figures, Senator Gavan, Senator Orr, Senator Singleton, Senator Smitherman,
Aye.
Senator Stutz,
Senator Stutz?
Senator Weaver, Senator Barfoot.
Aye.
11 in favor.
All right, bill's given favorable report. Next up is HB 359, Representative Bedsole. I'm also going to carry this for him. This was the exact Senate version that I had dealing with mental health.
What does it do?
Sure, I'll give you an example or try to walk you through. Bear with me. Got a motion for favorable by Senator Orr. Let me explain the bill.
I second it.
Second by
Mental
Senator
health. I know
Smitherman.
you're trying to help people, but I want to know what we're doing.
No, that's a good. A couple of different things. Hold on, about to tell you about the bill we just passed. It gives probate judges the ability, currently on a mental health commitment. If and Senator Smitherman, I know you'll know this, being a lawyer and handling commitment hearings. If somebody is diagnosed with a mental health illness and poses a real or present threat of danger to themselves or other, then the probate court has the ability to either continue that petition or commit them. There have been some courts throughout the state, probate courts, who see a substance abuse type issue or an addiction issue, even though there may be a mental health issue there, that they're not certain, they can't define which one is controlling or which one the problem is. This allows for that substance abuse or addiction, if it is a secondary in nature to the mental health aspect of it, to be considered at that probate hearing for commitment. That's one thing. The second thing would be if an individual is charged with, arrested for a misdemeanor or a violation and is in a municipal court setting or a district court setting. We even amended it to make it a circuit court setting, that the probate judge could ask for jurisdiction to be transferred, not doing away with that misdemeanor or violation traffic type situation, but could be asked for jurisdiction to be transferred to the probate court so that the judge in the probate setting could hear that mental health commitment rather than waiting until the criminal aspect has been resolved. And then the last thing it does is it gives the opportunity for, if an individual is here in Montgomery County, for instance, an involuntary commitment petition has been filed and that individual goes to Autauga County, it gives the ability for the probate judge here in Montgomery to issue an order that could be executed in Autauga County to bring that individual back here on behalf of that hearing, to have that hearing.
I think that that's an excellent bill.
Thank you.
On what you just said there, because we've already extended orders of protection from abuse actually across state lines now. If you get an order in Georgia, they can enforce it over here. And so I think that that's very appropriate, what you just said there.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, first by Senator Orr, second by Senator
Mr.
Smitherman. I
Chair.
see Chairman Albritton, you have a question or comment?
Just a comment. I'll make the same comment on this that I did when it was here as a Senate bill. And that is, this is a tool that the probate judges need. I understand that. It gives them more latitude and abilities, but it doesn't do anything to solve the problem. The problem is whether they get committed or don't get committed, there's no place to commit them to. We don't have a place to house them. We don't have a place to feed them. We don't have people to treat them. We have no way to send them or to help them. It may be an administrative matter that we need to do, but in practicality, it does absolutely nothing.
Senator
When
Smith.
you get, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Not just about this bill, but that concept. And I know we in judiciary, y'all, but I'm leaving here going to ed policy, so I'm already got some ed policy in my mind right now. We talking about that little first grade bill, testing folks, and then if they don't pass and go, the same principle. We ain't got no classrooms out there. We ain't got no teachers out there. Ain't nothing mandatory in the state law that makes them, after you flunk them, send them to kindergarten. Nothing. We don't have compulsory kindergarten. So, I mean, it's just what you said. We finna pass a bill, just what you said. We ain't got the money. We ain't got the rooms. We ain't got nothing in place but to flunk them and send them on back home with their folks. Come back as a 7-year-old, flunk them again because they ain't been to kindergarten, can't make them go. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you saying the concept. I know you wouldn't talk about my issue. I appreciate that. That's what I want everybody to think about. Just what he said. Capacity.
Let me just at the risk of belaboring a point, I would agree with you in the context, Chairman Albritton. I am aware of a situation where there is a mental health assessment that needs to be done, Department of Mental Health. And I'm not throwing stones because talk about capacity. They don't have the bed space for those. I think there are about 180 something beds statewide for a mental evaluation and review to see if they can rehabilitate folks in a criminal context. And as of right now, I believe they are admitting folks from June of 2022 on orders that are out there. So woefully inadequate bed space for those commitments at the mental health context, and certainly within the criminal realm. You've got those folks that continue to, most of them, I would imagine, to sit in the county jails and taking up space there, waiting on a bed to be evaluated. So that's 2 years later. So I think that's something we certainly need to address. Senator Figures.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want for clarification to those who are watching virtually. You know, you all are saying, Mr. Chairman, Senator Burfoot is chairman of the Judiciary Committee, but Senator Albritton is chairman of the General Fund Committee, the money committee that could just fix these problems if he would let that money go. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Figures. Senator Smitham, did you have any other comments? Or
I did, but I won't.
Okay, I understand.
Now, y'all leave my chairman over here alone, cause hey,
No, but they didn't call
leave
him
him
Mr.
alone.
Chairman
Gotta
today, so
protect him.
that's why I
I
didn't.
was joking with you, sir. I gotta protect him over here. I'm his bodyguard for the day.
All right, we got a first and a second. Any opposition using previous roll? Hearing none, bill's given favorable report. HB 44, Representative England. Okay, Senator Smitherman. I mean, I'm sorry.
No, you are Smillerman. I'm gonna be singing it today. Only thing different, we just not gonna trade offices.
Gotcha.
You might want to trade offices. He's got the big one over
But
there.
Mr. Chairman,
Anyway,
Mr.
you
Chairman,
made
it.
if you look on behind tab 8,
Okay.
okay, you see at the top it says Analyst Report, Senate Judiciary Committee, HB 44, Senator England.
It sure does.
So did anybody notify him?
Anyway, this
I
is
just had to, Senator.
I'm glad you did. You brought. I'm gonna send that to him. Let's take a picture of it and send it to him. We had this bill, and Senator Chambliss had this bill. This bill comes as a result of the Oversight Committee meeting with families back in December. Actually, we passed this bill out of the body yesterday, the Senate bill. Uh,
Got a first and a second.
okay, I'll be quiet.
You can explain it if you want to.
I'm gonna talk myself out my bill.
Any opposition? You've got a first and a second on the bill. Any opposition using previous roll? Hearing none, bill's given favor report. All right. Well, let's go back. Representative Hill, Chairman Hill is not here. I'm gonna do my best to handle this.
And I'll help you if you need me to
Yeah.
on that.
So,
Good bill. Second, yeah, that's a good
we
bill.
had a motion for a favorable and a second on the bill itself. Any discussion on the bill? Senator Stutz.
I was curious, how many will get a decrease in pay?
On this
I'm
bill
sorry.
right here?
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. How many judges are we talking about that are going to get increases, and how many get decreases?
I think it'll only come into play if there was a judge with circuit or district court experience that ran for and was elected to the appellate courts, and I think that depends on whether or not how much judicial experience at the district or circuit court they had to begin with. So
As I read it, they just bring their seniority with them.
that's
That's
pretty good understanding of that.
correct way to say it is, okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Albritton, and then Senator Smitherman, and then Senator Figures.
I appreciate, thank you, Mr. Chairman, of the Judiciary Committee. I would point out that this is an instance that's real, but it's not only occurring in judges. There's bills now trying to correct issues. For instance, when someone who is a deputy sheriff, has been for a number of years, runs for sheriff, and he gets elected to sheriff, and then he starts out at the lowest level. Several of them get cut significantly in that regard. And it's difficult to figure out how to make up those differences. We have other issues dealing with that, whether it be in any administrative, where someone is a clerk in a Department of Revenue of the county and runs for office and gets elected. That may be tied to some other aspect. There's several aspects to this. This is not an uncommon matter. And I appreciate Judge Hill coming in and finding this and trying to protect judges on that. I just want you to understand that this is not an anomaly in our circumstance. The question is, do we fix it for everybody?
That was going to be, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Figures.
That was going to be my question, Senator Albritton, because we're having the same problem with nurses within the school system. That there's a bill out there that we're dealing with this session. I don't remember the name of it, but they're saying that once they come into the school system, they can only go by the number of years that they were in the school system in terms that's related to their pay, when they should be bringing their total experience there to be counted for them. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from nurses in our school system. So I agree with you, Senator Albritton. Maybe we need to take a look at it all across the board.
And if I might, to counter that a little bit, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
all that's coming out of the general fund. Okay, all of that, all that.
But where
money
would we
that-
be
that
without
need to
nurses?
just, all
Senator
of that.
Weaver, I need your help.
Well, hey, Senator Auburn, you need my help, so and Senator Singer's gonna say amen when I say that. We can solve all them problems with what he's trying to indirectly tell us. Just pass the gambling bill. It's that simple. You be plenty of money over there, then we can go. He can do what he got to do. Would you agree with that? Yeah,
Goes
that's
back
all.
to the chairman. Huh?
No, I would counter with the point that not with the split that was put in as to how that split comes in and how that monies that would go out in other ways. There's lots of controversies there, but it doesn't solve the problem.
Senator
Nope.
Stutz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question, I guess, is, are you having trouble getting people to run for appellate courts? I mean, they know that when they sign up to run that you're starting over. So if you're not having trouble filling those jobs, Why do you need to make the job more attractive?
Senator Bill.
Is if a person's been a circuit judge, they've been through trials, they've been in the courtroom, and they've answered those hard questions. They've made those tough decisions with their judicial experience. And I think it encourages more circuit judges to run for the appellate level to give that experience from a courtroom instead of someone that's never been in a courtroom. Sit behind. I mean, that's just my thought.
Senator Smithman.
I fully agree with the senator over there when you said that, because the experiences in circuit court don't even have any comparison with the experience in district court. I mean, that they have to, those circuit judges have to try the case in such a manner, right, to make a decision, make the decision, write it in such a manner that it won't be reversed when it goes. They are more of an expert to look at when these other folks sending it, because they know how they got to send it and how it needs to go. And I'm gonna tell everybody in here, you know, if you think that job is easy, being a circuit judge, then I invite all you all who specialty in law to go do it. That is one of the hardest jobs in the state of Alabama, being a circuit trial judge. I'll just tell you this, I never had any aspirations. Never had one aspiration to be one. 'Cause, oh, shoot, it's too tough. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any opposition using previous rule? Hearing none, bill's given a favorable report. All right. Let me back up. Did we have a first and a second on that? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Bill's given favorable report. I think the last bill in the committee today, I've talked to Senator Smitherman about. Yes, sir. Go right ahead. Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
I've been watching y'all all morning in this meeting. I don't want no stuff out of y'all. Let's pay that bill. I'm just joking with y'all. I didn't want to say that. No, I would take 10 seconds and tell you a little bit about the bill and know that, Mr. Chairman, you can make that announcement because you're the chairman what I'm giving after I do that. But I invite you all to do this. And I'll make sure that if you hadn't got it, I want to give you a copy of the analysis of the bill so you can fully understand it from that perspective. And then if you have any kind of concerns about it or something that we may need to address, then feel free to do that, because we're still in conversation, regarding this bill. And I think Mr. Chairman is going to make an appropriate announcement as it relates to this bill at this particular time.
Thank you, Senator Smitherman. And you'll notice what Senator Smitherman referenced is there's two analysis in there, but I think he was talking about specifically this page. It should be your third page on there. With that being said, we're going to carry this bill over and ask you to look at it and continue to look at it maybe throughout the pendency of the session and see where this bill goes in the future. So that being said, any opposition to calling the meeting, to adjourning the meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Had a motion, and just watch it now. And I'll second, using previous rule, we are adjourned.
Oh, we got three. The boxing commission, he and I, about the referees, and it was one other. Oh, and y'all, so that's proof. I'll work with anybody. Y'all remember that. I don't care what you think about it. I'll work with every one of you.